Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks everybody for joining in. It's lovely to see so many friendly faces and people I recognise. So thanks for tuning in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jamie. I'm a guitarist and I am also a composer. And I love writing songs. And I've been doing a lot of songwriting recently. And I love helping my students write songs too. It's one of my favourite things to do. So recently we worked with Amanda and Red Earth Theatre to write some music for their last show called Soon Child. And we had to write lots of songs for that show, which was really good fun. So today we're going to talk I'm going to talk a little bit about writing songs, how I go about it a little bit, if there are any differences for writing songs for theatre, and we're all going to have a go at starting to put together our own song. Okay, so songs then. So songs and songs for theatre. Now, basically, I kind of have the overall idea that there is no right or wrong way to write a song. Okay? There's no this is the way you've got to do it and you have to do it that way. You can do it in so many different ways. You can start with words, you can start with music, you can start with a tune or a poem or even just a drum beat. And you can go about it so many different ways, and each way can be really fun. But in the end, we're hopefully aiming for the same sort of goal. We want to have some words, we want to have a tune, and if possible, we want to have some chords or some music to go under the tune and the song as well. Okay? And I think that's sort of most of the time, that's your general basis for what a song is. And you can have different sections to the song. I'm sure lots of you know about choruses and verses and things like that. But essentially, today, we're thinking mostly about words and tune today, actually. Okay. Now, writing songs for theatre, sometimes a song in a musical or a show needs to be really specific for that show. So the words of the song might include characters, and the story of the song might be literally to do with what's going on in the show at that time, or telling the story of the scene, or a conversation between two people, or something like that. So in those circumstances, songs for theatre can be quite different. But for me, most of the time, songs for theatre, just like any good song, they need to have a really catchy chorus that everybody remembers and knows how to sing along, easy words to pick up so people remember it and are singing it when they get home, and tell a story, okay? And most songs do all that. Most songs that we like anyway. So, the focus of today, what we're going to do today, we're going to start to try and write the chorus of a song. Okay, we're going to write the chorus of a song. Now, the chorus is the main bit that comes back over and over in the song, and it's really catchy, and it's the bit that you really remember most, and it's the bit that everybody wants to sing along with. Okay, and that's the bit we're going to focus on today, because it can take a long time to write a song, and we might not be able to get through a whole song in 15-20 minutes. So we're going to focus on the chorus today. Okay, and we want to tell a story with that chorus, and we want it to be catchy. Those are the two things we're sort of aiming for with our chorus. Now, we are going to use a picture from this book, which some of you might have already seen if you've already been to one of these online workshops. And you will have seen this picture too, but this will be new for some of you. This is going to be, this is a lovely book by Sean Tan, and it's mostly a picture book. It does have some small writing in it, but it's mostly these big, wonderful pictures. Really beautiful. And this is going to be Red Air Theatre's next show, this book, The Red Tree. Now, the picture we're focusing on today, to inspire us to write our song, is this one. So, I'm sure, as I say, some of you have done one of these before, will have seen this picture, but this will be new for some of you. Now, I'm just going to talk you through a little bit what's going on in the picture. Put my guitar down. Because we're going to have to soak as much of this up as we can and try and put it into our chorus. Okay, that's the goal. So, in this picture, you can see we've got a big window. And in the corner of the window, we've got a little girl looking out. And she can see in the sky all this colourful, wonderful things happening in the sky. We've got, we've got all sorts of things going on. I'll do a little bit closer so you can see. So here she is. And here's the top window pane there. And here's this one. She's got a very interesting thing flying through the sky. And here's the bottom one. Okay. And it says, wonderful things are passing you by. Okay. So it's quite poignant at the moment when we're all spending a lot of time indoors looking outside. So it's a really nice image, and it's very relevant for today. So we're going to use this to write a chorus for a song. And we need to do our best to sum up this picture in one chorus. Now, what I would like you to do first is take your pen and paper. Get your pen and paper ready. Okay. And I want you to actually write down you can write down or you can draw a picture if you prefer to draw pictures. But I want you to make a list, basically, of as many different things you can see in this picture. So it doesn't matter how many, you can come up with 3 or 4 different things, or if you can see 10 different things, brilliant. But we need to make a big list of all the different things we can see in this picture, because we're going to be writing some words and we need some inspiration for those words. So I'm just going to slowly go through it again. You can see, hopefully you can see the detail. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the detail there. Is that okay? Great. And in that one, okay, all right, just go through them again. Write as many of these things down as you can. If you can try and define what this thing is, then you get bonus points. Okay, and you could even look a little bit outside the window. Interestingly, the window is locked. And I don't know if you can read that there, but it says regret on that padlock, which is interesting. And there's all sorts of little things hidden in this image. Okay. So, we've got a list, hopefully, of things that we can see in that image. Now, what we need to do is we need to put all those things together and sort of summarize it into a sentence or 2 sentences, okay? And what I'm looking for is 2 different ways of doing this, really. One approach would be to literally just say what you see, and you just, in a sentence or 2 sentences, just describing all the things that you can see. Or the other approach would be to try and find a bit more of a meaning behind it, or a story behind it. So if you can think of a story of, why is this girl behind the window? What is she looking at? Why is it passing her by? all those kinds of questions. And if you can think of that story in your mind and start to come up with an idea and then summarize that story in a sentence, okay? I'm going to give you an example now. I'm going to give you I've got two examples that I've just thrown together. So I'm going to put it to music so we can hear a bit of music going, okay? So this one, I've just taken a nice simple approach. I'm just roughly saying what I see, okay? So it goes like this. She looks out the window, sees the birds and butterflies flying through the sky. She looks out the window, sees the moon and pretty clouds slowly passing by. So my words there were she looks out the window, sees the birds and the butterflies flying through the sky. She looks out the window, sees the moon and pretty clouds slowly passing by. Okay, so I didn't include absolutely everything I could see in those pictures in that one, but I just sort of summarized what's going on. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. So it's good to see you all working hard, writing some words. Excellent. Okay, by the way, if you've completely aced this already and you've finished, then you can just give me a big thumbs up and go, I'm done. I've got my chorus written. Just let me know. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes just to think about that. Thumbs up if you want to see the picture again. Is that helpful for anyone? Yeah? Okay. Okay. And it says wonderful things are passing you by. So I used a little bit of that in my words as well. I said slowly passing by. Okay. So you've got so far. And if you don't get any of this finished today in the session, that's okay. You can continue with this later. But you should have a list of things you can see in that picture, and you should start being to make a little sentence out of it. Okay, cool. Right, I'm just going to move on now to some ways that you can, if you've sort of got a rough idea there, that's brilliant, but some ways to sort of expand on that now. And these are kind of English literature writing exercises, really. So let's play a quick game. And I'm going to come up with a word, and I want you, as fast as you can, to write down 3 to 5 words that rhyme with that word. Okay? And I'm going to choose the word pass. So things are passing you by, so pass. P-A-S-S. Okay, go for it. See if you can write as many words as you can that rhyme with the word pass. Okay. Give you a few more seconds. Excellent. Okay, now, why are we doing that? I quite often like to put some rhymes in my songs. You don't have to, but it's a nice thing to do if you can, if you squeeze them in there. And sometimes I get really stuck. I get really stuck on a rhyme. And I will literally get a piece of paper and a pen, and I've got the word that I know I want to rhyme something with, like pass, and I will sit there and I will write glass, crass, mass. Can't think of any off the top of my head anymore. But so I'll sit there and I'll write a huge list of rhyming words and really exercise my brain, and then I see if any of them fit with my story, and I can fit them into my song. Here's another little exercise for you. Thumbs up if you know what alliteration is. Lots of thumbs up. So, I like to put some alliteration in my songs too. I've got a different version of the song here. And for this one, I've gone more poetic. So I'm less saying exactly what's going on. I'm more painting a picture of ideas, and I've used loads of alliteration. I'll sing it for you. It goes, looking through the gloomy glass carnival of colours scattering across the sky. Reflections are realised palettes of pastel shades, must they pass you by? Okay, so here's some of those alliteration words. Gloomy glass. So they start with the same sound. Gloomy glass. Carnival of colours. They start with the same sounds. Scattering. Sky. Reflections. Realised. Palettes of pastel shades. Okay, so I put in loads of alliteration in it, and they're really satisfying to sing when you sing a song if you've got some alliteration in there. So, alliteration challenge. I'm going to choose a word, and I want you to write down 3 descriptive words, so adjectives, 3 describing words that start with the same letter. Okay? And the word is butterflies. Okay? If you can't get 3, don't worry. Even if you can just think of one describing word that starts with B, then that's really good. And then if you happen to have written butterflies in your sentence for the song, then you might be able to put a bit of alliteration in now in describing those butterflies. Okay? So, butterflies. And you could obviously do this with any of the other words in your song. Okay? All right. Now, I did say there was no right or wrong way to write a song. Here's an example for you. David Bowie, famous singer and songwriter, he had a strange way of writing songs and writing words for songs. Does anybody know about this? Thumbs up if you know about this. No? Okay. David Bowie would write poems, and then he would take pair of scissors, cut them all up, and just rearrange them and mix them all up. So you'd quite often have a couple of different poems and just mix up all the words from all the different poems. And that's why some of his songs have some crazy sentences in them and crazy words in them, because he's really just explored his mind and mixed it up, which is really cool. But it doesn't mean those songs aren't clever. They're really brilliant songs. We just did it in an unusual way. Okay, right, so far, time is flying by and I can't believe how fast it's going. But we should hopefully have some words that are building towards our chorus and a bit of a sentence and an idea. Have we all sort of got that and got some ideas for how to make some rhymes and alliterations, which is good? Okay, the next thing that I want you to do with your sentence is to make up a tune to go with it. Okay? And you might not get this done in the session, as I say, but you can work on it afterwards, and that's fine. Now, there's no right or wrong way, but one way to make a chorus really catchy, in my opinion, is to not use too many notes and to use a lot of repetition. Okay? So, when you're coming up with your tune, aim for something up to 5 notes. Doesn't have to be, it can be more, but it doesn't have to be. You can keep it simple, just a few notes. And you can write this by singing. That's how I did mine. Do 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 do. Okay, I just did mine singing, and repetition. So that's what I did there in my tune. Is I did the same thing twice straight away, and that's where it starts to become a little bit catchy because we can remember it. Okay. Now, if you don't really want to do much singing, that's fine. You've got your words, and you can come up with your tune on your instrument. You can play a scale of notes that you like, or experiment and just play around until you find something you like. But try and come up with a simple tune that you can repeat. Okay? That's what we're aiming for. And when the chords eventually would come in, that's what, because something is repeating over the top and the chords are changing underneath, that's when something starts to sound really satisfying and catchy. So I did the same thing twice over different chords, and then the last time I just changed it a little bit so it felt like it finished. Okay. Now, so there's just some ideas of what I would aim for a chorus with the tune. Okay. Is that okay? Are we all following this? All right. Yeah. Some people are deep in creativity here, which is brilliant. Okay. Now, what we would then have to do, you're going to have to try and fit your words into your tune. Okay. And this is where the flexibility of writing a song comes in. You might want to do your tune first normally, and that's fine. So you have to play around with it, and you might not get it right the first time, and you might have to start again a few times, and that's okay. That's completely okay. You might have to change your tune a little bit to fit some words that you really love, or you might have to get rid of a few words or add a few words in to make it fit into your tune. As I say, it doesn't have to rhyme, but if you can make it rhyme and things like that, that's great for making things catchy and memorable. Okay. So, if you've got a sentence, and if you've got a bit of a tune now, or maybe after this, maybe after I've stopped talking to you and you've come up with a bit of a tune, I don't know, then that's when you start to fit them both together and tweak them so that they work. And then, if you were going to take this a step further, depending on what instrument you play, you could try and add a bass line or chords, if you know some chords. So bass line could be played on something like a violin. You could play some long notes underneath your singing, or I can see a flute there, so you could play some long notes on your flute while somebody else sings your tune over the top. Okay. So there's lots of ways to start making this sound like a full song. All right. And then the next step from there, if you really starting to enjoy your song that you're writing, is to write some verses, which we haven't really discussed today. But the verses, general rule for a verse is that you get a bit more information in, you get more story in a verse, and it changes each time it comes back, so you can tell the story as it develops. And then the chorus, we really want to summarize everything about that story or that song or that picture that we're trying to represent. Okay. So I hope that helps a little bit, gives you some ideas of how I go about writing songs, how you can do it in lots of different ways, and it's a process that you work at and you rework and write things over and over again until you get it just right, just how you want it to be. Okay, so if you can come up with some ideas and share them with us, I think, Amanda, will you let us all know how we can share them? That would be fantastic, because I'd love to hear if you've come up with some beautiful, catchy choruses for this picture. Are we all happy? Is that all good? Yeah? Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Amanda. Thanks for joining. Hope it was interesting. And Amanda, how can they share their song ideas with us?
Yes, I'll tell them now. So thank you so much, Jamie. I really wish that could have carried on, to be honest. I wish they all would.
It went very fast. It went very
fast. It did, didn't it?
Yeah.
They go very fast. But yeah, no, that's really fantastic. And last time we had the music session with Rosie, we had some amazing stuff come through to us. And so it'd be really lovely to see what you've developed this time. And so if you can send us anything that you've recorded or written, you don't have to write the music if you don't feel like it, or you can just send us the words to a song, and maybe Jamie could put music to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you could send the music and Jamie can put the words to it. And Or if you've got the whole thing, you can record it and send it to us, and we'd love to be able to hear what you've got. So it's our email address for that is calmandcreative@redearththeatre.com. So I'll say that again. It's calmandcreative@redearththeatre.com.